Well, we got a big box. All right, everybody. So this is from Tao Motors, and it's a 125 kids quad that I picked up from Tao Motors. And this is what people would call a Chinese quad. I do have two Tao Motors quads. They're 110s. Both of my kids have a little 110 quad. They've had them for 3 years, and those things have been absolute tanks. Now, they're not the highest quality, but they're cheap for what you get. And I know there's a stigma against this so-called Chinese stuff, you know, like quads and dirt bikes and everything. But I'll tell you right now, those two quads I got for my kids about 2.5 years ago have been stellar, just awesome. Yes, they're not the highest quality, but they're really reliable, super reliable. The only problem I've ever had with them was one of the batteries went dead that came with them, and I had to buy a new battery. That's been it. You know, as far as like maintenance stuff, changing the oil and all that stuff, of course, I've done the maintenance on them, but they have been awesome. So I went ahead, and since my daughter's a little too big for her 110 quad, I got her the next step up. I got her a 125. Now this is supposed to be a much bigger quad, and I'll do a size comparison between the two, but let's go ahead and I'll get all the saran wrap and get the box off of it and show you guys what we're looking at. I basically got the outer box off of it, and this is the shipping container it comes in. Now, their little quads came in the same thing, and these things get beat up pretty bad. I mean, you can see right here where this has been twisted. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's been twisted. Somebody hit it with a freaking fork. I need to open the garage door. See right here, somebody hit it with a fork for a forklift. It doesn't look like they damaged anything in there, but you gotta look these things over when you get them, because they don't really take very good care of them when they do ship them. This was sticking out of the box. You can see the tires are flat, but that's just how they come. Somebody hit this right here, bent that in. But now what I gotta do is I gotta pull all these bolts out so that I can take that metal frame apart. But part of the deal of getting this quad was I got a couple of goodies. This is like one of those like ski mask face protection type deals. Get some free grips, and then a set of goggles. They were like a free gift for buying the quad. I can already tell you just by looking at this and the tire size that this quad is substantially bigger than her other one. So that's going to be good for her. She's 9 years old. I'm hoping this quad is going to be a little big for her. That way she can grow into it. And right here is your box of hardware and stuff that you need to put it together. But I don't see any damage yet. But, well, so we just had a bolt fall out of somewhere. So we'll have to figure out where that goes, and a little washer. Yeah, that's one thing I will say when you get these things. Make sure you go over all the hardware, because these things are notorious for the hardware not being tight. Alrighty, so we got the outer cage off and some of the wrap and everything. So this is going to be one of the front tires because it's narrower. Rear tire, front tire, rear tire. And you can see they're directional too, so that'll kind of give you an idea of which side. Other than that, it looks pretty cool. It's got this little thing right here for using with kids and stuff. I'll show you guys that once I put it together. One thing I do like is it has an hour gauge right here. So that's cool. I like that. That lets you know like how much time you got on it, and it's a good thing for knowing when to change your oil and all that stuff. But I think what I'm gonna do is just get all this stuff off of here, undo that, so I can lift it up and get that metal out from under it, and then I'm gonna start putting it together. Now, one thing I'm probably not gonna put on is this rear thing right here. It goes on the back right there, and I don't foresee my daughter ever needing that, and I think it makes it look kind of tractor quad style, so I'm probably not going to put that on there. But the chain looks good. All of this stuff looks good. I don't see anything bad so far. It's got a spark arrestor and all that stuff. And then here's our little goodie box right here. This is going to have some of the stuff we need, should have the paperwork for it. And then there's our front bumper. All right, so I'm going to keep going on this, so just bear with me. Oh, part's falling off. We'll have to figure out where that goes. Since they packed this on here so tight, is you're gonna have to connect this right here, and you just kind of figure out how this goes on here, guessing right like that, and then you should be able to pull it straight. Yeah, and then you can connect your tie rod right there, and hopefully they have it centered up. But this thing looks good. I'm excited for my daughter. She's gonna be so happy when she gets home and sees this. Now that is kind of concerning. That seems super crazy flimsy. That's loose. I have to tighten that. Normally they put oh, it might just be able to screw in there, it seems like. Okay, so we'll just go and tighten all that stuff up later. I'll make sure there's oil in there and everything before I start it. But here's your choke, your fuel on and off. These are metal, that's nice. And here's your forward, reverse, neutral. So what I'm gonna do right now, since it's gonna be loud, I'm gonna go ahead and inflate the tires. Okay, so I got all the tires aired up, and believe it or not, it took for frickin' ever, because all the valve stems, one was like jacked up, and I had to like bend the little thing to get it to work properly. I'll probably have to replace it, but I just want to get it together. But they were all loose, so when I tried to air them up, the little valves inside the little valve stem was loose, and they were all leaking air. Of course, my valve stem tool is in my Toyota Tacoma, which isn't here right now, so I had to take two little tiny flathead screwdrivers and stick them in there and kind of pinch it and turn them all. But they were all loose, all four of them. So like I said, all the hardware on this thing is gonna have to be checked. Alright, so I opened the little box, and kind of cool, it's got a tool kit. It's got some hardware in here. It's got the battery, which I'm sure needs to be charged. Little hubcaps, instruction video, and all the rest of the stuff to put this thing together. So I think what I'm going to do, let's see what that is. I think what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and hook up the handlebars, and then I'll put the tires on it. like it sitting there, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so on to the next thing. And those aren't all the way tight yet. I'm gonna have to adjust those accordingly, obviously, but you kind of get the idea. And yeah, of course it took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but all right, so now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put the back tires on. Now, like I said, they are directional. They do have an arrow on them. So like this one right here will be the close one. And you can see the arrow right there going forward. So that's gonna be this one. So I'll put this one on and then do the other side off camera. And then I'll do the front for you guys. The front has drum brakes, and the actual drum piece is connected to the tire. So I'll go ahead and show you that. But all you guys really need for this, I'm just gonna use a big crescent wrench, since this thing, pretty much it's got stuff to hold it anyways. It's got a Carter pin, which I don't know why they went ahead and bent the Carter pin as much as they did, because they really didn't need to. They could have just done a little bit, but that's okay. We'll make it work. So you got yourself a castle nut, and then all this stuff, lock nut and everything. So this is just gonna slide on here. Does have some grooves on it, so just all you gotta do is really line it up and slide it on. Because like I said, it is splined, but you saw how easy it was to put on. So we're gonna put our big washer in there first, right like that. Hopefully nothing else has to go on there. See no reason for it to go on the inside, okay. So we'll put our lock nut on, or our lock washer rather, and then put this on. So you don't really have to let her eat because it's a castle nut. All you really got to do is get it snugged up. Like I said, it's splined on there. And then you're going to put the Carter pin through it. So get it. Where you can put that Carter pin through, which we're almost there. Right about there. So then just slide your Carter pin through, and you're just going to bend out the ends. And that'll keep that nut from backing off, and you just bend it out both directions so it can't fall out. You can't do this with your fingers, but it's a little taxing on them. So, but that will keep that nut from backing off. So that nut can't fall off of there now because of that Carter pin being on there. Not sure about that washer, but I didn't see anything really in the instructions, so that's how I'm going to do it. Because it doesn't need anything on the inside, because it just slides on that shaft, and the whole shaft is just a solid piece that spins. So it's not like the tire is going to spin on that. So I would think it goes on the outside. I'm actually not 100% sure why it's even on there. But like I said, it's on there, so we're going to use it. All right, I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll show you guys how to do the front and connect the tie rod. Sweet. So their toolkit does give you everything you need to put it together. They're, of course, the tools. And they do give you this wall plug-in battery charger to charge your battery too. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in right after I show you guys this. So I'll just go ahead and pull this stuff off real quick. Just set that aside. I don't think we need this for anything, that little thing that fell off, but Who knows? Who knows? Okay, so there's a little groove. Alright, so there's a little groove in this drum. It's going to go right over that. So that's where you want it. You want that to go right in there. And now, you're going to take this cotter pin out. See, they did that one right. They just barely bent it. They didn't get it all whacked and everything. So I don't know if they set this up from factory or if I'm going to have to adjust these tie rods. If it comes down to it, I will. But pretty much, just going to slide it into this hole. Maybe. Okay. There it goes. Alright. So, make sure you put the lock nut on first. And then your castle nut. This is kind of weird because this castle nut is going to be way past where the hole's at. Sorry, I got my head in the way. Not too big. So we'll just use our handy dandy crescent wrench and get this nice and snug. Now you don't have to kill it with these things. Just get it nice and snug. You don't have to put it on there like you never want to get it off again. And then get my head down in the way so that I can block your guys' view. I think right there is good. We should be able to stick that through there. Yep. And bend her around. Now, this front shock's not hooked up either, so I'm wondering, probably just have to lift the front end up and get that shock hooked up. Okay, so we have an El Problemo. You can see how I did that, but this, that bolt's gone. So I'm sure I have a bolt that will work. But like I said, these things are cheap and they do run good, but this part of it is the frustrating part. The checking the hardware, missing hardware, that kind of stuff is what really gets to you with buying these Chinese quads. But I'm sure I have something that will work there. I looked in the box already, in the box of stuff. I've looked around the pallet, so it just fell off sometime during shipping, or they forgot to put it in there. But I'm gonna go find something that will work there, and then hook that shock up, and then hook the tie rod up on this side, and then put the tires on it. Alrighty, so I got that other side figured out. So here we go. Make sure you grab the right tire. Like I said, there's an arrow on it right there. So it indicates that it goes this way. Plus you can just see by the tread that it goes forward is going to be the way the tread's going. Now what I was talking about earlier is that right there. That's your drum brake for the front. So make sure that your drum brakes lined up on that tab in the back, and then this should just slide over. It might be a little bit of a bugger, but just work with it, be patient, and then it'll slide right on eventually for you. And then you're going to take your big washer, put it on, take your tassel nut, thread it down, and like I said, you don't have to kill this, and you probably won't be able to, because right, might have went a little too far. Okay, so you can hear that it's rubbing, but that'll work out. Still spinning freely. And put your Carter pin in, and I'll just use this. There we go. Spin it around just like that. I'm gonna do the other side real quick, and I'll just show you. So, like I said earlier, that was missing, but I found a bolt that worked. It's a grade 8, so it'll last longer than anything else. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that tire on. Sorry about the wind, it's kicking up. Like I said, I wanted to do this with the garage door closed because it is kind of cold, but oh well. So I'm going to put that tire on, and then I'm going to check all the hardware. Got to charge the battery up, and then we'll get this thing going. Okay, so I decided to put this up here because couldn't see it lower, and it gets out of the way of this wire. So I did go ahead and change that around. I still need to put the front bumper on, but I wanted to show you guys this real quick. This is why it's uber important to look these things over. Now this exhaust is hanging on here by one bolt. They only put one of the bolts in it. See, this bolt, this nut, is supposed to be on the far side of this mount right there and connected. So this needs to mount up there like that one. See? But both of those are loose. And luckily, I've been going around looking at everything. So I'm going to tighten that up and tighten the rest of, just check everything. I'm going to check everything. All right, so she's together. So this is the Tao 125 two-wheel drive quad. It's basically it's an automatic. It's called a semi-automatic because it's got forward, neutral, and reverse, but basically it's an automatic quad, so you don't have to shift the gears or whatever. I put a wrench on every single bolt and nut on this thing, so everything's tightened down. It's full of oil. It's got the break-in oil in it right now. I haven't put gas in it just yet. I did a little bit of cleanup on it, and I didn't do the hubcaps on the rear because I got 4-inch space, or I've got 1.5 inch spacers, because you can see how far out the front tires stick. But this thing's gonna be sweet. And I did fix the exhaust, so she's pretty much ready to go. I'm charging the battery right now. Alrighty, so it's like 10 minutes later, and the battery said it was charged already. So I put the battery in and put some fuel in it, and I literally pushed the thing just to turn it over to get the fuel started, and it started right up. So let's just go ahead and show you guys. So we'll turn the key on. You can see it's in neutral, and then you have to hold the brake. Started right up. Runs so nice. Now it came with this limiting screw all the way in, so it didn't have any throttle. that's pretty good. Not too bad. It literally fired right up. I wish I would have had my camera rolling because it fired right up. It didn't even like stutter or nothing. And apparently it did it with the choke off. Because I thought the choke was on because it fired up so quick. So I put it, yeah, I'm just an idiot. All right, so more to come with this thing. Okay. This thing just keeps getting cooler. Watch this. It has freaking remote start. It has freaking remote start. Whoa. And apparently it has a panic button. How cool is that? That is just, that is so awesome. Oh my God, that makes my day.